This is a question that a lot of underclassmen asked me before. How does a student with no experience get internships? Hi, my name is Anson. I am a current intern at Tesla, and by the end of the summer, it would be my 1 year mark here. Before that, 2 internships at Yahoo Finance, and before that, I was at a startup. I want to first list out the 3 main routes that people take. It's either coffee chats, cold emails, or resume learner projects. Some people have it as a tutorial that they followed. Some people followed a tutorial and added some more stuff onto it and made it their own. That's way better. And there's people who just really did it from scratch and have a proud project. The project that I'm mentioning here are the learner projects. If you're just trying to learn and this application or machine learning project isn't used elsewhere, if its sole purpose is to be on your resume, then that should be a pretty bad red flag to you. A tiny little red flag. Yeah, if that makes sense. Now that you can build so much with your AI agents, building something is cheap. A lot of people were doing learner projects and missed the actual users. And then another common route that people take is mass applying. If you just go to the subreddit /CS majors, you'll be able to see people who put like 600 in and they barely get like 2 interviews, and then they were lucky enough to land one, or some people went to the final rounds and didn't end up with anything, right? So mass applying is definitely a strategy here that's commonly used, and we can see it very easily, like the spraying and praying method, right? Now, I am going to share my personal recommendations or my personal thoughts on these routes. First of all, coffee chats, cold emails. There's a lot of people who got jobs through cold emailing and coffee chatting. And I can't even say that it's rare, because I was having a happy hour with my teammates and they were talking about how did you get in? Like, what was your story for joining? They were saying how they just cold messaged like on LinkedIn, this director, and things just worked out. Most of them messaged him on LinkedIn. Now, that's the thing. Like, it's definitely there and I saw it with my own eyes, but I have to tell you that there are many people who got it through this way, but it could have been their 100th or 1,000th coffee chat that it finally worked out. I feel like cold emailing and coffee chats is also kind of a spray and pray method. I personally would recommend joining a student organization at your school instead. It is very crucial for you to be able to convert a cold referral into a warm referral. And the best place that you can network is surprisingly within the school. To those who are freshmen and sophomores watching this, you might be like, all my friends are sophomores and freshmen. They don't have anything. How can they be of help, right? But you never know who's going to get into your dream company. You never know. And if you go into these clubs, you will have the club presidents, you will have these leaders, and most of the time, at least in my school, these club leaders have great internships, or they at least have some connection. I'm not saying that you should join just for that career network. It's also a place where you can safely build that connection with your peers. Just have fun, you know? That kind of friendship, especially out in the real world, it's very hard to build that friendship. So if you have that good connection with your friends, later on, like 5-10 years later, if you want to pivot into a new direction, and if your club friends are in there, I'm telling you, that will be a game changer. I can say this myself because I referred a few of my friends to Tesla as well, and one is actually going through an interview process right now. I think she will get the job. Having that friend who can vouch for your personality, your experience, and your work ethic, that is incredible. And if that friend is already in a company where you would like to have a position in, it's definitely going to boost your chances. With cold referrals, if you reach out to them, they can, if they're nice enough and they have the time, they can refer you, but there's not going to be a lot of content going in along with that referral, right? Your goal may be just getting your foot in the door, but usually referrals in Tesla, if you get a referral, the recruiters are required to respond to that referral within 2 weeks. So some of my friends describe it as, oh, Tesla referrals just feel like expedited rejection, because that's the thing. They're really scanning to see if you're a perfect match for this role. If you're not, then they will reject you because they have to give you a response, you know? Just getting that referral isn't going to get you an interview. You need someone in the team to vouch for you so that the team or hiring manager or other coworkers are willing to at least interview. To have that warm referral, connections are very important. And the easiest way to gain that connection is not just with your roommates, but you can expand it out to clubs. So that's what I'm talking about. And now going on to the resume learner projects. I mentioned this briefly before, but I personally would recommend you to stop building what just looks good in the paper. It is a strategic way, but if that project is only there to serve the purpose of filling in buzzwords in your resume, I recommend you to not do that, because it's very, 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 very obvious in the perspective of a resume reviewer. It's very easy to tell if you actually cared about this project, if you actually have a passion or interest in this area, or if you're just trying to stuff some in. The way that I had my projects, I built stuff for the people that I care about. It's like, it could be family, it could be friends. And because of that, the product can't be bad, because I don't want my friend or the loved ones to use a bad product. Your objective gets much more clear too, because you want to solve a problem for the people that you care about. And so you will be talking to them, really nailing it down to the core of what problem they were facing. That just pushes you to become a better engineer, to be honest. So if you're searching up projects to do, I would recommend that you make something for your friend, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whoever. That's way better. And the product quality is going to be way better too. And plus, you will be able to actually show that passion, like how much you cared about making this project during an interview as well. Like, there's no reason to not do that. All right. And then for the mass applying part, it works for some. I'm not saying that this is a bad strategy, because if you increase the applications that you're sending out, obviously the odds are going to increase of you hearing back from somewhere, right? But honestly, this speaks more to my personality, to be honest. But I would recommend you to just sit down with yourself, have a moment of introspection, and try to figure out what you want to do and what interests you, what you can bring to the table when other people can't. Your unique value proposition, basically. Why does it have to be you that they pick? And what is something that you can just do so naturally, so easily when other people struggle? You need to find your own unfair advantage. Based on my personal experience, I really tried to figure out what I like to do. And until I figured that out, until I had a better direction for myself, I completely stopped applying. And that actually gives you more clarity, because you know how they say watching reels and TikToks like a dopamine rush? It's the same thing with applications. You see an opportunity and now you're like, oh, I gotta apply for this. And you apply. And then you get an email after you apply. It's like, thank you for applying. And they say, we will review your application and reach out to you if you're a fit. Thank you for your interest. You see that email and you get that relief, that sense of relief that you're actually doing something. You're not just sitting and not doing anything. You're at least doing something. And you might not be anxious for a little bit, but it's just a bad cycle, because now that you are relieved, the next time you're anxious, this is going to be the way that you calm yourself, whether you realize it or not. And then you will just keep on applying and applying and applying. I don't think it's efficient at all. It's just temporarily relieving your anxiety, and it's not actually bringing you towards where you want to go. And this might sound brutal, but I put some stuff here. Being desperate won't get you hired. Now, this is a very cruel thing to say, but it's true. You can't just be applying, and just be desperate and things just magically work out. Okay, I need to correct myself. If you are strategically mass applying, if you really sat through some time of introspection and you figured out what you want to do, yeah, after you narrow down the focus, that might actually work. Set your direction, and then from there, if you want to mass apply, go ahead. What I meant here by mass applying was you just see anything that you fit the requirement for, and you don't even look at the job description or what the team does or like the responsibility. You just look at, do I fit into this requirement? And then if yes, then you just apply. Don't do that. LinkedIn easy apply, that kind of stuff is what I'm talking about. You just send it in and then you don't even remember that you applied somewhere. That is bad sign. If you don't even remember where you applied, then how do you expect the people there to remember you, right? It doesn't check out. You need to be very intentional in your applications, and I don't know what else to say. That's my personal recommendation though. You can disagree, and that's totally fine. I personally did not do the mass applying, and it worked out for me. Okay, going forward. So now we got to talk about what are the reachable opportunities. Okay, I'll be very honest here. Let's say that we have a mountain here of career. We're down here because, we're down here. We don't have any experience. We're very happy. Well, okay, we're not that happy down here. And our expectations are looking up. Why? Because we see other people here, right? We see other people there. And a lot of the people just say, I just want something. I don't even expect Fang, right? If you're in that case, then yeah, I'm glad that you're here. If you're someone who sees other peers just getting into Fang and just setting this as your expectation and getting disappointed, like bashing yourself and being negative about things, that is not the way to go, right? If your eyes are up here and you can't even get some interviews like in this area, then low-key, that's kind of, if we're down here, we got to look at what's on the ground, what's on the river and like the stream, and then see like, oh, there's something floating here. Like, let's get that, and let's get that. Collect things that come your way and then build your way up, build your stairs up so that it's an easier walk up for you, right? So this was just like a little drawing that I had here, but you get the point. Now that that context is set, now we have the expectation of what I mean by reachable opportunities. Like, it has to literally be reachable to you. So some things that I have here is, number one, like local family-owned businesses. If you go to a plaza where they have some family-owned like restaurants or businesses, yeah, that's fine too. If you have a family connection, or if your family has been going to this one local restaurant for a long time and your parents know the owner of it, that's even better. Now, these places, they don't post jobs online. Most of the time though, they would appreciate any help, especially with technology. Okay, well, this is in the premises that we just want any experience. It's not just for the money or the pay, okay? You can help build their website. I am a computer science major, but if you're like a different major, then you can try to find what you can do for these businesses. If you're a mechanical engineer, or if you're, I don't even know like what examples, like you can maybe CAD something that fixes their daily problem, like CAD up something to help them. If you're a software person, like a CS or business intelligence or data, then maybe you can set up some kind of flow for them. That's really up to you and the owner, but these are places that you can reach out to if this never occurred to you. If you already tried and they're saying we're not hiring, I would just go ahead and be like, hey, I don't need money. I just want experience in the industry, in the real world. I don't need money for this. I just want to see how my skills can impact and help people. I would do that. But if you're not someone like that, that's fine. You can go on to the second one. So student organizations. I've been mentioning student organizations a lot. And yeah, it's because I think student orgs have the best return on investment. It's flexible enough for any initiatives you have in mind. Let's say that you were in the club for like 2-3 years, or like maybe just like it's your second semester there. If you have an idea and it fits into the club's mission or the purpose, most of the time there will be a way for you to pan it out. They can request budgets from the student government or the school itself, or you can get some funding from like the parents fund or something, right? And you can use that to fund your project or like your initiative. If they just don't like your idea at all, go make your own club. That's some great stuff to tell. Like, even just in a behavioral interview, you had to put out this proposal for this initiative and you got it. That says a lot. That means if you need something for your team, you can go get it, right? That's a great signal. And over here too, you have great potential to have high impact in your community. In this case, it would be the school. Given that these initiatives are related to like campus and student experience, like people will be affected in a positive way, hopefully. It's great. You actually have users, or you're impacting real people. The biggest thing is you're dealing with your peers. The population density, it's gonna be university students your age. If they think some initiative for like club is great, they will be willing to support. And that's how my experience with student organizations have been. And then third one, like again, we're focusing on the reachable opportunities. So yeah, we have the hometown. Now, this might be like, what? You might be like, I go to an in-state school. My hometown is here. Okay, well, good for you. Whether it's your elementary school, your middle school, or high school, you already have connections there. You graduated from there and the teachers know you. You will hopefully have some family friends attending there still. You can have some underclassmen, the people that you led in a club, they're still in school, whatever. But yeah, maybe you can just go in, talk to your former teachers and say, hey, like, I'm trying to gain experience. This is what I know how to do. I noticed XYZ issues while I was at school. Is that still an issue? I know that you were struggling with these stuff. Can I help automate this? Like, I can help out. And honestly, if I was a teacher and a former student came back to school and they're like, hey, I learned this. I'm studying this in college. I want to help build the future generation and help your job as well. Is there anything that I can do or anything that you can point me towards for me to gain experience, for me to succeed. 9 out of 10, the teachers, they will be willing to at least try to help you, you know? If you can have any initiative for your former schools, that's really good actually. A lot of people don't even consider these as options. So I just wanted to share. Back then, internships used to be the stepping stones towards full-time offers. Nowadays, you need stepping stones to get an internship. That's how competitive things got, and that's how important internships got in your whole job search process. That's just how it is. And these can be the building blocks towards getting an internship. I don't want to criticize a potential hater because maybe there's no one thinking like that, but if you, by any chance, thought that these were lame because you're not getting paid and you don't even think these are going to help, then honestly, I don't think you deserve an internship because that mindset is crap. Internships are educational opportunities. This actually stems from apprenticeships. The purpose of that was to get a mentor, have someone to mentor and teach you and guide you through. If you start regarding internships as an alternative of a part-time job and you just need money, then the internship loses its whole purpose. Once you start focusing too much on the money, that's when it starts losing value because that is not what you're supposed to focus on. And yeah, I wrote it here too, very important. Any pay you get, consider it as a scholarship. It's great if they give you housing stipend. It's great if they pay you anything that can help support you during the time of the internship. But these internships, they don't go on for too long. My case is pretty rare where I'm doing this for like a whole year, but most of the time they're like 10 to 12 weeks. Some longer ones like the fall or spring ones are 16 weeks. It's not designed to be a forever thing, right? It's a temporary placement where you can learn, get a glimpse of the job, the workplace, get to know the team, and it's like an extended interview before they consider a return offer. So don't try to focus too much on the pay. I just wanted to like get that there. I will be sharing my journey really quick. The whole topic of how a student with no experience gets an internship, it's by collecting the micro experiences. And you might say, who doesn't know that, right? I can just go over it really quick. This was my freshman year, by the way. So it's like the first year of college. This was like a second year of college. Second. And then this is like third and ongoing. My first year summer, I was like, okay, I gotta do something. Let me just try to get myself out there just for fun. So I joined this week-long online hackathon. It wasn't even big. You can find these online hackathons a lot now. And if you just want to have fun with your friends or if you just want to have experiences, go ahead. I've been participating in hackathons quite a bit, even during the semesters, especially online ones. This happened to be one of them. And I was lucky enough to win first place and I was accepted into a AI startup incubator. And using this experience, I put it into my resume. And with that experience, I was able to get my OIT, Office of Information Technology, campus job. Now, I interviewed with two places. One was with a technical support team, and another one was with the robotic process automation team. And I got offers from both, but I chose to go with the robotic process automation team because this seemed more in alignment with what I wanted to do, which was application development, more in the software space. And that's the thing. The official title of this when I first joined was a process automation specialist. Now, that doesn't directly sound related to the software engineering role, right? It seems quite distant. And you might think, oh, it's not even what I want to do. Let me just not do it. Some people might think that way, but you got to think in terms of process automation works with data pipelines, data flow. And if you work with those stuff, obviously you will be able to put in some bullets of what you did in that specific project, right? You will be able to write more. And if you want to, you can explore different things within the role. In the beginning, just getting anything, any opportunity possible and just filling up that resume space is crucial. But those have to be meaningful and relevant experiences that you can talk about later. It has to be intentional. So yeah, I joined the team and I was able to propose an application idea that can help their process of intaking requests. So instead of me setting up automation pipelines and just ending it there, I created a platform where the school's admin can just put in their request, and then based on that, it will evaluate the priority and the significance of a project and also evaluate the ROI of pursuing the project. Because my job function was more leaning towards application development, I was able to put in my resume that I did application development. You can can name your titles whatever you want. The thing is, don't fabricate anything. You can't say that you did something that you didn't. What you can do is, while in that role, you can try to like target or really focus on a certain direction and gain your team support in that, so that you can make that happen in a form of a project. Also, if that's what you did, if the job functions align, it's totally fine for you to adjust that title to reflect what you did. And then for this campus job, my supervisor, he referred me to a startup. This CEO was his brother-in-law. And I think it was during a family gathering where he got to know about me. Like, they were just talking, and then I got referred. I interviewed with them and I joined them as their first intern. I learned web development and some frameworks that were very important for me going forward. So yeah, this was my first official title, software engineering internship. And then from there, like, I was able to leverage that experience and get some corporate internships. One thing to note is that I was able to use the skills that I learned from these internships, especially for this one, the startup one. I founded a product that is now an official GT platform. And without these internships, I wouldn't have been able to build the foundation of this product. And while I was building this whole product and designing it, my design skills and software engineering skills have improved a lot. And then that also helped me get some of these opportunities. And also, I got a lot of messages from recruiters on LinkedIn. And yeah, I didn't have to apply to get an interview. I would be reached out to. And then from there, we schedule like an interview, and then I would just have an interview, skipping the OA and the resume screening, because the recruiter already saw my profile and they wanted to proceed with my quote unquote application that I didn't even submit. So this was one heck of a journey, but the key takeaway is to have the ability to frame your experiences in the lens of your desired future, your skill to be able to kind of see your way through, like, every step that you're at. When I was here, I was like, oh, I can like leverage this experience for getting a campus job. And then when I was here, I was given the opportunity to get that startup opportunity, but also I was able to pitch for myself and get some application development related projects. And then from there, using this experience, I was able to see what I could do to level up and go to a corporate internship. So that is kind of like what I had to share today. I just wanted to share that it is possible if you just really look into yourself, what you want to do, and if you can think, what in your life can you leverage? What experience can you leverage to frame yourself, position yourself to get these additional experiences? If you don't have an experience, if nobody's giving you that experience, you got to find your own experience. And you can do some passion projects for your family and go to local businesses. You can also go into research, but yeah, like hackathons are always an option, anything. So that's how I ended up where I'm at. I literally had no experience. Like before this hackathon, well, this was after my first year, but before my first year, I also built like a project. Maybe I can have like a whole project video, but my first ever project was built after taking APCSA. You know how APCSA only teaches fundamentals of Java, like basic uses of it, almost like just preparing you for the lead code. I only knew like how to do for loops and all that stuff. And then I built my own first project in Java. And back then it was pre-AI. So I had to rely a lot on Stack Overflow. After that project experience, I was like, wow, software engineering and coding is a completely different thing. And from then on, I tried to see what kind of areas can I easily reach within campus, whether that be tech support or a campus job. What opportunities can I seize very easily, but also use as a stepping stone for the future? Always keep that in mind, because if you're always thinking of that, then it opens your eyes. You may spot opportunities that you otherwise wouldn't have. I don't know how much I'm going to cut from this, but hopefully that was helpful.